You have a color.
Shekinah,
Yes,
that's what I'm
ma'am.
saying. On this particular dictionary, if you notice, there is for gym products. Kindly go to where you have gym products. Gym products. Okay. You will see product category. Sorry, where's it now? Gym product subcategory. Product category key. Can you see that? Product category key or gym products product category key. But when you go to the data itself, there's no product category key.
You said
There's no
dim
product.
product.
So
This one.
yes, can you see products sub? What am I even saying?
This is product subs. This is product sub,
Yeah, product subcategory key.
which
Okay.
is also here, and which is also here.
I guess the coloring that threw her off, because I had the same issue too when I was trying to do my schema, my relationship with all the tables. I just had to go into the table one after the other and try to see what was in what, because I would assume that product subcategory key in the DIM subcategory table is related to that in the DIM product table because of the color, right? So yeah, now I'm taking a second look at it now. It kind of makes more sense.
Exactly. So this like reference helps you, and something else that helps is if you open like each of the data files, right? And it's usually good to do this in groups, right? Because you might miss something as opposed to just cleaning it on your own, like it's a group project. So you may miss something, right? That someone else would see, right? So, but the colors match, like in terms of product key or product subcategory key. So your product subcategory keys are like 1, 2, 3, right? To 37. Right? Does anyone remember? So that would be dim product subcategory key. While for dim product, because what you can connect to the fact, so the fact table is your main table, right? These are the rest are dimension tables. We talked about this during the class. The fact table has your transactional data in this case, and each line is a sale of a particular product, right? It's a particular sale. The main thing here is your product key that links to the dim product that tells you things about the product, right? So this in itself is sufficient even for you to do your analysis, right? You also have a table called dim product category. And the fields it has in this one are product category key, which can link to this dim product subcategory key. So in the end, like you have all this data, but you need to pick a line of investigation in the data, right? And in terms of things to do with EDA, there's lots of, like, this is sales data. There's a lot you can do with your sales table. You have your orders, you have dates, right? You have sales order numbers or whatever. You have the actual quantities that were ordered, unit prices. You have lots of information about the product. You have the product cost. You have sales amounts. You have information on tax. You have shipping information. Like you have lots of information. You have information on currency, right? You have information on what reseller sold the product, right? So look at this reseller key, for example. This connects you to a table called reseller key, right? With this reseller key, you can get lots of information on the reseller, right? lots of information on the reseller, including something called geography key, which connects you to DIM geography. Like this is how things would be in a standard business environment, right? Each table will hold different kind of information. So for example, you can get information on sales and where the sales were, like what geography. So if you want to know sales by the regions the business operates in and has resellers, you have to connect this table. There's no geography key here in this table. So you need to get information on the reseller. So you have to connect fact reseller sales to DIM reseller and to DIM geography so that you can get what region each sale occurred in. So you can do a geographical analysis just based on the same table, all the sales by geography based on the reseller that sold them. So there's lots of different angles. And did you try exploring the data?
You're right. Okay, sorry. Yeah. You're right.
No, go ahead.
Fine. I was able to get like basically everything you said now on the table. Yes. But where I had issue was I was trying to link the product itself. I was trying to find not the product. I was able to get the best product, of course, get the worst products and all of that. So I want to link it with the employee. Yeah. Do you understand my point? Like which employee and which particular products is the employee selling, the best employee selling, and which particular products is the worst employee selling. You know,
okay.
I was trying to find a kind of maybe average, and so my syntax was correct, but I couldn't connect it. That's where I had that issue of sub-product key and all of that.
Right. Because to get, so first of all, when you say best, you're probably talking about like either order quantity or like the total volume in monetary terms, right? Which will be unit price times order.
Yes, like I was thinking of the total sales of the employee, but I don't think I...
Okay, so you were working with sales amount, perhaps.
Yes, amount, correct. That's it. Yeah.
So if you had sales amount, so remember this fact table, each line is like a unique sale, right? That was sold by a particular employee, and that row would have employee key. So you connected that to DIM employee, right?
Yes.
But you wanted to also do it by product. Am I getting?
Yes, by products. Yes, which product? So that's why I lost. I couldn't get the products.
Exactly, but your product key connects directly to the fact table, and you have like products, weight, measurement. Like you have description on the product here. So you don't even need to still connect the subcategory. This subcategory here is just, it's not really as valuable if you look at the content.
So I should not connect subcategory. I can just connect with other, okay.
You should only connect where like there's something you're trying to pull. Like here, it's really like just subcategory names. It's almost like a redundant table. It's useful for something, but not, yeah. But if you want information on the product, like it's all in here, in this DIM product. So if you just connect each row to employee and then connect this to this product, so you can literally get the sales amount for what employee and for what product groups. And then you can now group by that whatever product you're looking at and say, okay, within this category, this was the best employee. Within this other category, this was the best employee.
Okay, thanks for the insights. Try that.
Yeah, so yeah, like so just two things I'll say so we can move on to the Power BI work for today. Like the deadline is literally tomorrow, so let's try. Like you can send questions through Jumoke as well if you have like any particular questions. The data was provided as, was it CSVs or Excel or both? I think I sent both. You guys have both, right? It's both, right? Exactly. Yes. So in your SQL MySQL server, were you all able to create the database? I think Ugochukwu has a question.
Yeah, Shekinah,
Yes.
on this one, before you move to Power BI, if you have, say, I know you talked about geography not being available in that product key, but you wanted to query your data to show you like the geography data. Would you be, what kind of join will you use? Would you use use a join, an inner join, and use the on clause, and then put the where's the geographic key on that products table, and then join it on a similar attribute on the other table? What's the best practice? Because if I go product key to product key, I'm not sure if that will yield what I want to get.
If you're looking for geography here,
yeah,
you'll be joining this. Now, what gets you to geography is first going to reseller, because there's no geography on the fact table, right?
Yes.
Essentially, they sell products. There are particular resellers that are in different geographies that sell the product. So if you want to get sales by geography, you need to go through the reseller, like who sold it. That's how they map the data, right? So in this case, if you did a left join with fact resellers on the left, so all you'll be doing will be to add like which reseller for each line. So think about this table has all your unique sales, and then you can join on reseller key to get what reseller sold that product, and then that reseller, what geography are they in? So another left join with geography key to be able to get city, province, or whatever geographical information you want. Do you get it? So if you have this and you left join the reseller key, you're adding like reseller information to all your fact table. You can pick what columns you're interested in. Or it may just be geography key, and you can now connect geography through geography key. Do you get it? Each sale has a reseller that is in a particular geography that is mapped by this geography key, and you can get it connecting dim geography table. So that's how I'll go about that. Yeah. So just this is your reference to how the data is. It's not the largest data set out there, quite frankly. But I just put it as like a step beyond what we've been doing in class, because in a work environment, you're not going to see like some of those very small, straightforward tables. You're going to see tables that are a bit bigger. And this is like a map that helps you connect between the tables. So you can always figure out your path to any particular field you're looking for within here. And if you have questions, like just reach out and ask through Jumoke, or since Slack is giving some issues. Just because your deadline is tomorrow, right? You need to complete your analysis. But definitely what's key, just in saying that before going, everyone needs to set up the database, right, and link it. And you have to be able to put this in Power BI as well and do some visuals. Pick your line of analysis, look at what you're investigating. Someone already mentioned they were looking at each employee and their sales performance, right? Some people are probably going the geography route. So whatever line you choose, don't make it too wide, just kind of streamline to some analysis around that particular area of interest so that you can come up with some insights and some recommendations for the project. And you still have the data set, right? So you can keep working on it and do a few other exciting things. But don't feel overwhelmed. If you need help, just reach out as well. All right. So I'll let Mehitabel do some Power BI, and maybe at the end I can come back if there's any brief question, just for 10 minutes.
Okay. Hello, guys. How's everyone doing? I'll just share my screen and then we'll get into it. I think for the last class, we already imported our data sets, did a little bit of cleanup in Power BI, and so already did also a mini walkthrough of the Power BI canvas. So we should be ready to create a dashboard now. So I'm going I'm going to show us like a sample dashboard of what we'll be creating today. This is based on the data, right? This is based on the data that we have. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So just a very straightforward, simple dashboard that we would create to work on today. For the purpose of our project, it might be a bit complicated to create models, right? Using those are our tables. So if we're able to clean up and get our insights using SQL, we can simply import those tables the way we learned how to import them, import those our output values, right? If you want to create any visual to show more insight on them into Power BI in pockets and create your visual. That's acceptable because right, you're not sharing your dashboard like within an organization where, say, you're trying to create like an interactive dashboard. I'll show us how to use filters here, but it might not be necessary for this project since you're presenting it like a presentation. Just look at it like a presentation mode. So okay, so let's get into it. I'm just going to teach us how to create visuals, and then at the end of the day, give us some tips on how we can go about the project, and then hand back to Shekinah. Okay, so most of us should have this page. I'm going to you know what, let me create another file. So so last week we imported our data. I'm just going to run through that again since I'm redoing it. Did a little bit of clean up here. I don't need this column, so I can simply remove it. Okay, so everybody should have these two data sets, right? Did we rename them already, or do we have it this way? If we've not renamed it, you can go ahead now and rename it. But does everybody have these two data sets imported into their Power BI canvas? Is there anybody that doesn't have that? Okay. So this one is.
I don't have that.
You don't?
Yeah, it's not visible to me on Slack.
Okay. I had put it on the chat. Shekinah, if you can help to drop it. But were you in the last class? Did you see how we imported the data set into Power BI?
No, I skipped that last class, but I was in the previous one when we launched the Power BI platform.
It's the same. It was the last class was when we launched the Power BI platform. Was also when we imported the data, I think. So what we did was, let me just show you. If you come to this data section, you can simply click on Excel workbooks. Shekinah, please, could you help to drop the data sets in the chats? Do you have them? Hello. Shekinah? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. Like, you just logged back in. You just came back in.
Okay. Shekinah, please, you have the okay.
Is it the data set or what do I need to show?
Yeah. Okay. The data sets for the Power BI.
Yeah, I'll share it now. There'll be sales data and sales target.
Yeah.
Open in the
just
chat.
okay. So if you download those, right, you can go to Excel workbook here under the data pane when you open your Power BI. And for the target, you can simply close and apply. You can simply load it. But for the sales data, you click on transform instead of load. And when you get here, you can split column. So you split column by positions, right? And then what you will see there is 0, 11, and 27 based on the positioning here. And then you can just delete the 11 so that you get to where we're at. If you have any challenges as you're doing this, please just get in the chat so that we can sort of like move forward. So if you have any issues when you are importing it, just drop maybe a screenshot or what challenge you're having, and then we can help. So for those of us that have the data sets, if you haven't renamed it, you can rename this. I'm just going to rename this as sales, right? And then I'll rename this as sales target. So to get that, you can either click on the 3 dots here, or you can just come here and right click on it, right? Yes, it's just about the same data set, Ogochukwu. It's just one you need. Okay. So let me see. So what we're trying to do here is we have our data set that shows us the registration date, the territory name, product category, revenue, right? And another data set that shows us the different territories and their targets. So our sales team just wants a quick analysis or a quick view to see the performance of the different territories, right? Or the different territories and product categories. And based on the sales and the targets. So basically, we just want to compare the sales figures or the revenue figures with the targets. Now, what's one of the standard ways to do this is you have to create measures. So I talked about DAX expressions in the last class. DAX expressions are basically like the language that is used in Power BI. Is very similar to macros, but it has a lot more functions and than macros. So we'll just do a little bit of DAX today. Very simple functions. It gets more complicated, but I would say it gets more complicated on a need basis. How do I say that? Like, so for example, I can't tell you I know DAX functions, but if I need to do something, if I need to create maybe a running average by quarter or month, or I need to be able to do some checks, maybe I want to...
Excuse me, Isabel. Sorry
Okay.
to cut in. So sorry. Which one are we supposed to transform? Is it the sales target or the sales?
No, just the sales.
So the
The
sales
sales.
target,
And
we load it, and then the
Yeah, just
sales we transform.
yes. I am transforming the first column, which is the registration. You know what? Let me just show you. So when we imported it, the registration date was a text file because it had some extra columns, right? And so we want to make it a date. Unable to connect.
Yes, I don't know why. So I just follow the steps you use for sales target. I go to the Excel workbook and upload it. Tells me that.
So you come to here, Excel workbook, and you click on your sales, see targets, and then open it. So you click on it, and then you click on load, and then it gives you unable to connect. Is that what you did?
I didn't even get to that navigator. So when I clicked on Excel workbook, and it pulls up a dialog box for me to select my data. So I click on sales targets. I click on open. And it doesn't give me, it doesn't bring up the navigator. Yes, this navigator page doesn't bring it up for me on my Power BI. I don't know if it's because I'm not signed in or I don't need to sign in.
No, you don't need to sign in.
Says the file contains corrupted data.
Do you want to delete the file and maybe I don't know which of them you downloaded. Maybe delete it and re-download it. It should work fine. All right. Okay. So to create there's something called measures in Power BI. Those are where you create like your formulas, right? So in this case, what I usually do, and it's good practice so that if someone gets into your Power BI file, it's easy to find where all your calculations are. You can easily come here and then, create a new you can create a new measure, you can create a new column, right? Here you see new quick measures. Power BI has some standard measures that, let me just show you. If you create this one, you see you want a calculation. So let's say I want to see that it has already put some rolling average, running total for category. So if I want to say rolling average, for example, I'll come and put, what do I want? Another very important information, Power BI is drag and drop. So you can also double click, but let's say for my base value, I want the revenue. I want to use my date hierarchy. I want to do the revenue per day since my data has just, 1 month figure, right? And then, so if I click on this and say add, it's going to add this. It says revenue rolling average, right? And this sign beside it tells me that this is a measure. Now, this is the DAX query behind that measure. Power BI automatically does it for me. So sometimes there are some measures that you want to create that are already, that there's already like a quick link, right? Like when you come and you see those calculations and then, or you see, let me remove it. So here, there's some standard calculations that Power BI already has here for you that you can use inbuilt DAX queries, right? You can also use this and then try to say edit it based on what you want. But if you already know how to write your DAX queries and you don't want to use these ones here, or what you need is not part of these options here, you can simply create your own measure yourself. So these are called quick measures that Power BI already has. A lot of this is very useful, especially when you have the time intelligence quick measures, quarter over quarter change, month over month change. They are usually very important, right? Because many times that's what maybe the organization is trying to track, and then you already have that information here. Okay, so, and again, this is the icon when it's a measure, this calculator icon. So I'm just going to delete this because I don't need that. So now, what I always like to do is to have a different table for my measure. Remember when I was telling us about how you can input data, get data into your computer? We said you can use Excel, you can connect to SQL Server, you can connect to a whole lot of other databases, even the web, and then you can also input your data yourself. So you can leverage this. So when I click on it, I rename this as my measures table. So you can do this with me. I don't like to see the name. Yes, so this is just, I load an empty table here and name it measures table so that any calculation I do it under this measures table. That way, if I have a data set, for example, that has so many columns. Sometimes you have data sets that have so many columns. You're importing up to 5 or 6 data sets, and you're creating a model with all of them, and you need to create a measures. It's difficult if someone wants to make any edit and trying to look for where that measure is or where you've stored it. But if you have a measures table, it's just easy to come to the measures table and get all the calculated columns there. Okay, so the first thing we're going to be calculating now is our sum of revenue, right? So if I click on this, I can say new measure. So let's call this revenue, right? So if I say sum, if I just begin to type, it will give me all the suggestions. So this is what I need. I need what is in the sales table and then the revenue, right? So if I click on this, this is my revenue. It has created the revenue here. Now, let me just show us a sample. What I did now was I clicked on the visuals and I clicked on the matrix visual, right? Yes, last class we talked about the different types of visualizations that we have. So I've clicked on the matrix visual. Just want to use it to show us an example. You don't have to do this right now. And then if I come and I drag my revenue that I just created to values, right? And then in the sales, I drag, say, the product categories, right, to my rows. It will give me the different product categories and their revenue, the total revenue, right? Truth is, I could have done this. Power BI is smart enough to detect this, right? So if I put this, it also just automatically sums it, right? But then every time I want to use this revenue in any other calculation, I always have to use sum of revenue. I'll show you the difference. But with this, I can simply just take this as revenue because it already knows that it's They'd already created it as a measure. Okay. So, if there's any question, please feel free to stop me and ask me.
I have a question. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. For Excel, for sales data, where do I get the transform path? To import the data. Where do I click on transform to get it?
You can click on edit query.
Okay.
And then you get to this Power Query editor.
No, to import it before I get here for sales data. Sales data has a different path from sales target.
It was also in the chat. So there are two data sets. One is sales target, the other one is sales data 2022. Then the other one is sales target 2022.
Yeah.
So I renamed the sales target 2022 to just sales targets, and then the sales data 2022 to sales.
Yeah, but I'm saying that that when you're importing the data, you said you just for sales target, you just click on Excel workbook and then you click on navigator. But for sales data, that one is different. You have to go to transform, split column by
so when you do
positions.
That, when you click on it and you click on sales data, right, and you open. Instead of clicking on load, just click on transform data. It will take you again to that query editor. Okay.
So what do we do from here? That's where I'm stuck.
From where?
This particular page. When it takes us to the transform data page.
So when you get here, right, this is text, and we don't want it to be text because this is a registration date, right? We want our registration date to be a date, to be recognized as a date column. So we have to, so you come to split column and click on by positions, right?
Yes.
So to edit it, we remove this, the 11, and then click on OK. When you do that, it splits it. You can go ahead and delete this one at the middle or not. If it doesn't matter, we're not going to use it anyway. So that's, yes, Cynthia.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Hi, Maitabel. Sorry, so when I did the matrix, it's showing can't display the visual. So I don't know. This matrix that you did under the visualization. Stop it.
Okay. When you click on metrics here, are you able to do this first?
Yeah.
And then you drag your revenue to your values. Did that work?
It didn't work.
Can you check your revenue? Did you do some sales revenue?
Yes, I did that.
Can you
some sales revenue? Yes. Okay, I should take a screenshot.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Measures table. I came here where you have entered data. So if you click on it, you can just rename it to measures table and then load it. It's just you're loading an empty table so that you can fill it with your measures. So my screen is not showing completely. Is anybody else having that issue?
Yes, I'm having that same issue.
I can only see your screen from Internet Explorer. That's the E icon. Everything from left is not showing.
Internet Explorer.
Cynthia has a full screen. Right, and I'm just using a monitor.
Let's see. Could you click on see details, Cynthia, to see what it's saying the problem is?
Okay, I'll send a screenshot of that one.
But then again, take away the product category first. Like remove that product category. Just put the revenue. Where you have rows, remove the product category and see if you see it. Although that shouldn't.
Same thing.
I'm not sure why you're seeing only part of my screen because I'm actually sharing a whole desktop. Okay, so your revenue, go back and check, go to the table, right? And go to your sales. Then where you have the revenue, check the format. If it's whole number, if it's whatever it is, change it to whole number.
Sorry, where do I? Okay, I wasn't looking at your screen. Okay.
Has it worked?
No, I want to try it, but you can go ahead. I'll just post whatever error I get.
Okay. Where were we? Okay, so now we've created our revenue, right? So let's check the number of sales. So here we're going to assume that for every line item is a sale, right? If we check, you discover that some of them have blanks. Remember, we checked that in our last class to see how correct our data is, right? So some of them have blanks either in the territory name, I think also in the product category. Okay, product category is fine. So many times to get an accurate number of sales, usually you may have something like a sales ID, right? But here we don't have a sales ID, but that's fine. Just try to understand the idea. So now we're going to have new measure, right? And we want to get the number of products sold. So let's call that product sold. And so product sold will be count. And I want to count my revenue as well. You can count the sales ID, you can count the product name. Well, let's count the product, the revenue. So if I count the revenue, I get the product sold. Now, I also want to get, we did this in the last class. Because I imported it again, I'm just redoing mine, right? For those of us that are just importing our data, you come here to the model tab, and then you see that Power BI has automatically, well, this time around, because probably I've done it over and over again, it has automatically linked the territory ID at registration to territory ID, right? But yours might be territory name to territory name. If that's the case, just double click on this arrow here, and you can come and change it. So if you click on this or you click on this and then come and click on the territory ID and then allow to filter in both directions, and then you can close it. So you'll see that the arrow here has now changed to both directions. Okay, so I also want to now create another measure, which is my target. Right? So I'm just going to say some target from the sales target table. Yes, you're on track. Try to create your model. Double click on, let me just go back here. So you can double click, you see there's a connection between the two tables. If you double click on it, right, make sure that you're connecting territory ID at registration to territory ID. Make sure that the cross filter direction is in both directions. And then you're fine. Then you can come and start creating your measures, right? So far what we've done is we've done revenue.
I'm also lost, so that I can just carry the two of us together. I was looking at the data. I was thinking there was no difference between them. That's why I became lost. But now that I have opened them, I could see that there's a slight difference of data and so I was lost. So what do I do after importing the two data? Now I've finished importing them. So what am I supposed to do?
So when you import the two data, right, you probably will not see the name sales and sales target. So just rename it, right? So if you come here and click on rename, so if you, the three dots here, so let's just try and be very fast so that we don't have time again. So if you come here and click on these three dots, all right, click on it. You click on rename. So you rename
them. I've renamed them. Too many names. I've renamed it too. Yes.
Okay. Now, after renaming them, you come to the model view, right? Have you done this? Have you?
It is where you click model view. I didn't see. This
is model. Okay, you can't see it because you can't see my table. Okay.
So just have to keep on.
Who is
so what did you click on? It's Dorcas. Where did you click on model view now? I have
to the left, right? Where
to the left, all right. Yes.
Can you see my icon? I
can see that now, yeah. Thank you.
So if you click on that, you have the model view. So and then you double click on the connection between both of them. Make sure territory ID at registration for sales is connected to territory ID for sales target. And then the cross filter direction should be both. By default, it'll probably be single. Let it be both. And then just let your screen match what's on my screen. And then click on OK.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Now, after that, what we did next was we created a measures table, right? Using the empty table icon here, which is enter data. So ideally, you can use this to, if you have maybe, you want to create like a lookup table for existing data sets, or there are numerous use cases, right, for you to use this. And then for me, I use it mostly for my measures table. So I renamed it here as measures table, right? And then I called it value. Someone was asking I just call it value because it's just an empty column, right? But every table has to have a column. So you can't create a table without at least one column. So it's just an empty. I just don't want to have the name column one. So I renamed it to value. It's not necessarily, it's not anything in particular. So after that, you load it. You load the empty table, and you're going to have this measures table. Oops, sorry. You're going to have this measures table. After the measures table, you create your revenue using some sales revenue, the target using some sales targets, like target, and then for the product sold, we are counting instead, right? Okay. And then let's add another metric, achievement. So the achievement is going to be our target minus our revenue, right? To see how far we have gotten. No, you don't have to create another empty table. When you have your measures, right? Measures table, if you click on these three icons as well, you see new measure. So if you create a new measure, click on new measure, just under this table, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to create your measures under that empty table you have created so that everything is together in one table. So if you do that, this box will open up for you where you can type in, right? And so you can use that to create your revenue, your targets, your product sold, and now we are creating achievement, right? So I'm going to say my achievement is target. So now I can simply pick my target I already calculated before, right? This is what I was saying. So if I wanted to use, I didn't have that target, I would always have to come to say some targets, maybe, then minus, then I'll come and say some revenue, right? But since I already have my target and revenue calculated, I can just say targets minus revenue, right? So I have that. I also want to create the percentage. So I can say depending on whatever the business defines their metrics as, you just use your functions here. Now, for my revenue, if you remember when we clicked on this, I don't know, Cynthia, are you fine now with are you able to see your revenue?
Oh, Gochuku, I've not been able to see my revenue. I think I'm lost.
You're still lost.
Yeah, I right-clicked, I got the new measures, and when I wanted to right-click to get the revenue, then it changed to column 1. I don't know what I did wrong.
So table
we created an empty table from, yes.
Yeah. So that table, if you right-click and you create a new measure, right? Go back to, I mean, you can still be here, I guess. You create a new measure, or just go back to this, your view, right? Like here, extreme left, where you have your report view. If you go back there, and sorry? So your report view, so you have the report view, you have your table view, your data view, and then you have your model view. So go back to your report view.
Okay.
And if you do that, and then you right-click, so you go to and click on new measure, there should be like a sandbox kind of thing, a box where you can type in a code that pops up on the top.
Okay. If I click, we are right-clicking on measures table, right? All right.
Yes. So anyways, if you go to the measures table, if you go to the, just hold on. If you go to the table, yours, you didn't name it. I can see you didn't name it measures table. You just named it table, right? If you click on the 3 dots on the beside it, on the right side of it, if you click on it, and you click on new measure, which is the first first value there. So if you click on new measure,
Yes.
there will be a box, it's like a sandbox on top. If you want to come and look at my screen now to see what should pop up, right, on top of what is highlighted, maybe blue or something, and then the measure also is there. Can you see that? Now, if you
I can see that, yes.
If you delete that measure equal to and call it revenue, right? And say revenue equal to sum, open your brackets, and then you can type revenue. It will show you the actual column name, which is sales in square brackets revenue. Click on that and close your bracket. If you do that and you click enter, revenue should be a new field added to your measures table or to your table with a calculator sign beside it. Do you have that?
Yes, I have it now.
To do the same for target. Target will also be sum, but this time it's target, right? From the sales target table. Product so will be count. Then achievements, we did just do it one by one. If you're stuck with any of the metrics, you can just say it and then Shekinah will just put what's there.
So products equals to what's sales product or whatever.
Product.
What's the formula?
Product will be count. So we counted the revenue to get the number of products sold.
Counts. Is it counts A or count X or counts? Count
Sorry?
sales. Okay, what kind of counts am I looking for? Is it counts sales?
And you just count. Let me. Yeah, Shekinah has put the formula. Okay.
Can you show for percentage achievement, please?
Okay, so for percentage achievement, basically, what I did it in 2 steps, right? You can do it all at once. So, for example, here, you can decide to say, what's the word now? Target minus revenue divided by target, right? So you can do this. You can do this and it will give you the same value. Since I already have target minus revenue as achievement, I just put achievement here. So it's just achievement divided by target. Is it a measure under target? I'm right-clicking for the product sold.
You know that the way I just created revenue on that table, right? To create revenue. If I click on the target table, should I right-click on it and then get...
No, do it on the table. Do it on the measures table. That's the whole idea for creating that measures table, so that all our newly calculated measures will be under one particular, like a folder. So click it under the table. If you see my screen, you see that everything is under the measures table. The original source tables are in their space, and then I'm trying to put all the calculated values under a different table. Okay, so we have these measures. So for revenue, for example, we have put our revenue here and we see the total revenue that we have, right? And then we can add, say, product category to the rows, and then you see the different product categories, right? And their revenues. Or if we want to check it by the territories, you see the different territories broken down by the product categories, right? So usually it's a good way to see what you're doing, you can check this and you see the breakdown. So for each territory, the different product categories and their revenue, right? So once you put it in this metrics table, it helps you slice and dice this out, whatever in whatever you have columns and no rows. Nelly, do you want to speak up? I don't understand what you're saying. I don't understand the chat.
Saying that where you drag the revenue to, rows, columns, values. So I have columns, just columns. I don't have rows.
Check if you
maybe I dragged the wrong table.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's still
table instead of matrix. Okay. Thanks.
Okay, but table is just like a straight table. You just keep putting all the values in it. All right. But if you want to get metric is like a pivot table. So it does your summation and summarizing your data for you. All right. Okay. So if you click on the revenue, there are so many things you can do with this, your calculated column or calculated field, right? So for example, this doesn't look good. So in visualization, it's not just about showing data. How you present it also matters. The readability, the flow. So sometimes you don't just put different values left, right, center. You need to create like a story. It's like a story, like you're telling a story. Think about the user experience as well when you are creating a visual, because the whole essence of visualization is you're trying to make the data look to be a bit more insightful at a quick glance, right? That is why you're transforming rows and columns into things like graphs or summarized views and things like that, so that at a glance, people, executive, business units are able to get the value. Now, if I see this number, for example, I have to start thinking in my head, how many zeros are here? So in order to make this readable and to clean up my data, here, if I click on revenue, this comes up and I can easily put like a comma here, right? So if I put a comma, you see, it has made my life easier, right? If I wanted to have, if, for example, in my summation, say there were already decimals and I want to remove that, this is decimals, I can remove it, or I can add how many decimal places I want, right? So this has added decimal places, but I don't want that, right? So here you can also use this to click to put your decimal places, or you can use here. Right? Okay. Now, my achievement, if I remove this revenue, for example, and I put the achievement, my calculation is just showing this way, right? And so I can simply come here if I want to make it a percentage to multiply by 100, right? Now, all these ones I've seen infinity, don't worry, we'll get to that. I can also make this to have the dollar sign in front of it, right? Or not, depending on what I want. And there's so many currencies. It's not only dollar. See Edo sign, Naira sign. So, okay. Let's leave it at this. All right. So, any questions so far? in terms of the measures and how we created the measures. These are the very, should I say, very basic. If I want to create a measure, okay, tell me. How about you?
When I was trying to create the achievements measure, when I clicked achievements equals to targets, it was telling me that it doesn't recognize targets as a table, but it recognized revenue. And so it gave me an error message, like a caution sign.
Did you already
It says target cannot be determined.
Did you already create targets here in your measures?
Under measures?
Yes, as a measure.
Target was a separate table on its own.
No. So you can either two ways. You can either create your target, right? Saying sum sales target, right? So you're going to sum the target in your target table as a target measure. Or if you're going to use it straight in your achievements, you would have to say sum that target, right, which is the one on this sales target table minus your revenue. I'll advise you to just create your target straight up first before you create the achievement.
Okay. Sorry, I'm lost. Can you start again? I'm so sorry. Well, say it slowly, please. Let me understand.
Okay. So we've created our revenue. Now you want to create target, right? So I've clicked on it. If you look up on my screen, you can see the formula to create target. It's just sum, right? Then the table where you're picking it from is sales target, and then the column name there is target, right?
Okay.
So the syntax is your function sum, open brackets, table name, in square brackets, the column name. And then if you've written that, hit enter, then you have your target under your measures table. And when you want to create your achievements, you can simply put the target minus the revenue, right? Since you've already created that. Is that okay? Are you good?
Yeah, so target is sum minus sales target, right? Okay.
Sorry?
So target is equals to sum brackets minus sales target. That's what you just said.
Not minus, so just sum. It's just the sum of the sales target. So target is sum of the target in our sales target table.
Okay. I got it. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Currency. So this way you add the currency. You click on the value or the field you want to add the currency to. You click on this, and then you can see all sorts of currencies here, right? Okay. Any other questions? Okay, I just want to show us another measure. We wouldn't really use that metric, but let's assume we need it for something, right? And so we wouldn't use this in the view that we're going to build today, but I just want to show us how it works. So if I want to say, what do I use now? Lanterns revenue, right? So I want to add a filter in my DAX query. There's a very popular function, and that's what I want to show, because if you're using Power BI, you probably almost always use it, right? It's the calculate function. So I want to say calculate. Again, how I approach most of this SQL or DAX or macros is just try to think of it like you're speaking to the computer to execute an instruction, right? So you're telling it what to do. So what exactly do you want? So I'm telling you now, calculate, let's say is the product sold I'm trying to do. Calculate the product sold, right? Where here now is the comma, right? And I'm saying where product category, right, is equal to large lanterns. I think I have, or let me say cookstoves, because I can't really remember how large lanterns are. So in Power BI, your strings should be in double quotes, not single quotes like SQL. So you use your calculate function, you put your expression. This expression can really be anything. It can be some days, it can be the average of something, it can be count, it can be anything. And then you put your filter, right? Now you can filter here as where it's equal to cook stove. If you need it to be more than one, you can say where is in. Remember, like our SQL, but in this time, you have to put it in curly bracket, right?
I have a question. When did you just type the cook stove, or did you have to click it from the table just to make sure you're writing the exact field name?
Yeah, you have to check it so that be sure you're writing the exact field name, right? I'm very certain there's no product category that's called lanterns. I'm just showing you guys the syntax. We're not going to use it in this. I'm just going to just show you. I'm just trying to show you how to use calculate and how to do some. There's some times where you may not do this in your SQL, and you have to do it in Power BI depending on the data set that is given to you, right? And you can also still achieve here in Power BI. But I'm going to use that.
Okay. So how did you get this display of these tables in your canvas? What did you click, please?
This one?
Yes, how did you get this into display?
So I clicked on the metrics. So if you go to the visuals, right? So you know what? Just hold on. Did you get how I added the commas and stuff like that to the revenue? How I added comma, how I added the currency?
No, I only stopped at achievements and revenue. I've not done currency and comma.
Okay. So to do this, you can click on this metrics, right? If you click on the metrics here, let me just do it again quickly. So you click on metrics. I just dragged it here. You can drag it around with your mouse. Drag it here. And then on my revenue, I drag the revenue to values, territory name to rows. So that's how I got that. And then for my product category, I put it in the columns. If you do that, for you who hasn't changed your revenue, you would still have it as whole numbers. So if you click on the revenue, you can click on the comma here. It automatically puts put the comma as thousands. On your achievements, come and click on the percentage, and in your revenue as well, you could add whatever currency that you need to add. It's right up there, right? Even if you don't get it now, the visual, like, so we're trying to recreate this guy, right? So we'll get to it, right? Okay, so usually one of the first things that people would do, right, or at least I would do, is to add a title depending on what you're creating. So to add a title, I simply click on text box. It's right up here on your homepage in the inserts. If your company has maybe a logo, right, you might need to come to like insert, there's text box here as well. There's image, so you can insert image from anywhere. You can insert a shape if you want to use a shape to create anything. Just the way you play around with Microsoft Word and PowerPoint and all, you can do the same thing here, right? So I'm going to call this guy sales performance by territory. So sales performance by territory. I want to pull this. Just watch me and go along with me so that we'll be on the same page. So how do you get this achievement of
Because
this?
I was trying to draw the matrix, but the achievement in the canvas is stopping it from getting to the canvas. I can come back if you don't, if you're working. Let me just flow on this one.
Yeah.
You get, I was trying to draw the matrix to put that visual as you were teaching us before, but because I had an achievement.
Okay. Did you click, was the achievement on the metrics, in the metrics?
No, it wasn't. It was just on the canvas since I created it as a measure. So I didn't know how to take it off the canvas.
So your achievement
there's a filter and there's, yeah.
Your achievement cannot just be like on the canvas, right? Nothing. So if you don't have any visual, it cannot be on the canvas like that. It's probably a visual that you have clicked on. I just can't see it.
Selected, yes. Yeah. I've done it. I mistakenly checked the box by my right hand side.
Okay. All right. So click on text box. Do we clear the canvas or new page? You can clear the canvas or you can go to a new page. Irrespective is fine. For as many pages, you can leave that one maybe to reference it as some sort of like rough work or whatever. But even if you create other pages, your measures and everything you have still remain the same. So you can go to a new page. If you want to go to a new page, just click on the plus sign here and you create a different page. You still have everything that you can work with, right? So I clicked on the text box. If you click on text box, you have just the way you have text box for PowerPoint, right? So if you click on this, I then typed sales performance by territory. So I want to centralize it. I want to increase it to 14 here. What I've done is I've made it bold, right? I'm going to change the font color. My company's color is brick red, so I'm going to change this to the dark red here. And then over here where you have the format column, so we've been doing a lot of work on the data column. Now, just beside the data column, there is a format column, right? When you are clicked on a particular visual, right, or in the text box, you have the format column that will sort of like dominate the whole second, the second column. So if I go to effects, so properties, just so you know, properties are basically like a general to show the height, where it's at, the width, the positioning in line with what you have here. Padding is just, all of these are just for, if I say I want this one to be 4 or maybe 0. It's hard to see the effect of that. But anyway, it's just in terms of how it's positioning on my canvas, right? Then if you go to advanced options, maintain layer order in reading view, even when selected. By default, it should be on so that your visuals are not dancing around, right? Then your title, I don't need title for this, right? But for the effect, I want to add a background color, right? So my background color, I want it to be gray. And so it changes it to gray, right? So now I have my title. Does everybody have their title? sales performance by territory title. Okay, great. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to create, I want to show my product sold. I want to show my revenue, target, achievements. Yes, please. Very important to save. It doesn't save automatically, sadly. So you can come and save as here and then save your work. And then periodically, you should also save it so that you don't lose your work. When you want to close, I'll show you. When you want to close your Power BI, always select that it should save. I can't remember what it's called. I'll show you at the end when I'm about to save it. Okay, so I want to show my product sold, revenue, target, achievement, percentage achievement, right? And I want to show them as cards. Now, if we go over the visuals here, I'm just going to randomly show us some. This is a stacked bar chart, right? We have a column chart. A bar chart, column chart, they're almost the same thing. It's just a bar chart is vertical and a column chart is horizontal, right? And then you have the percentage bar chart. So this one shows everything as 100% and then shows the percentage of whatever your legends are, right? And then you have line and stack column charts where you have the column chart and the line graph, right? Sometimes you use this to show values and maybe growth over a period of time. You have your pie charts, your donut charts, pie charts. They're almost the same thing. You see just the donut inside. You have your funnel, you have your map, right? So your map and your field map, you use them when you're dealing with geography most of the time. So Power BI can identify geography and then say you're trying to show sales in different geographical regions, right? You can put that in a map, and then so that at a glance, someone can just go into the map and maybe zoom in. It also uses the hierarchical, it's sensitive to the hierarchical features of maps, right? So say you have country, state, town, stuff like that, you can use it and drill down to different layers. So if you have maybe a population map, right? And then you have the US population, Canada population, Nigeria population, and you want to see, okay, in Canada, what are the different provinces? You can click on that map to take you further and further, depending on how your data is structured, right? So your map can do that. You have your card. Your cards are basically what you use to just display values, right? So you have those cards, and then you have your slicers. So your slicers, you use them for filtering. You use your slicers to filter. And then we've used the metrics, we've talked about the table. Here, you see get more visuals. If you hover here, if you click on it, you can actually go to the Power BI like a marketplace here. So you have lots more visuals. There's a lot of them that are free. So even if your visuals there are not like sufficient, or you don't have visuals there that, are able to achieve what you want to do, you can come here and you can find lots and lots of other, exciting visuals that you can use to make your graph a bit more dynamic or more interactive, right? There are some that you have to pay for, right? And then that's fine, you can pay for them. There are other very independent third-party organizations that are able to show you, they're able to sell visuals to you. I don't think so. I think you should be able to see it even without signing in. I'm not sure of that, right? It tells you to enter email address. Okay, then that's fine. But you can sign up for Power BI, the free version. It's for 14 days. However, you can't sign up with a Gmail account. It has to be an organizational account. So if you have an organizational account, you can, register for Power BI. You don't need the license for the first 14 days. And then with that, you can also collaborate, right? And share and stuff like that. Okay. So let's go ahead and use our cards. So if I click on cards, give me this very wide card. I don't need it to be that wide. So honestly, when you create your measures, right, like a huge chunk of your work is done. Everything else that you're doing is just trying to make your data presentable for viewers, right? So here I want to put my product sold. So I'm going to go ahead with this highlighted. Make sure that you've clicked on it, and then so you can drag this to this point, or you can even drag it. Sorry about that. So you can drag it here, right? Or you can simply drag it to this point. So it tells me that the products that were sold were 219. Now, I was telling you that even if you hadn't added your commas and all, you can still do it. So you see products sold, I haven't added the comma and I want it to look presentable. So I'm going to add this here and you see that it has added that. So when you click on this, it just gives you based on whatever configuration that Power BI believes that it should be at, but that may not be how you want to present it. For example, I don't want my number to be this large, right? So if I come to the format your visual button here, so under visualizations, you have add data to your visual, you have format your visual, and then you have add further analysis to your visual. So if you come to format your visual, you see the call out value. So there's the visual and then there's general. This is the latest Power BI update that introduced this. I think it's the latest one, but earlier this year. Before now, it wasn't like this. It was just one format brush, right? But now they kind of made it look very similar to Tableau, but it's okay. So if you click on the call out value, here you can determine the size of your data. So I want mine to be 25. 45 is too large, right? And in my company, they're very particular about their brick red company. So I come and I change it to brick red, right? You can also set the decimal place values here. So when you set, I told you that you can add your decimal values at this point. If you add the decimal values here, right, if you can see my screen on the data pane, then you would be adding it on the entire measure. So for every visual that you create, that you use this measure for, all that you've done here, we apply to it. But if you create it here in this visual, it's just going to be specific to only this visual. So if I want to make this 2 decimal places, right? So if I want to make here 2 decimal places, so if I make it 2 decimal places, even if I create another card and I put my product sold here, it's going to be exactly what it is here. It's not going to take on the properties that I just created there, right? However, if I copy this, I'm pressing Ctrl+C and V, I will have exactly the same thing here. I hope that makes sense, and I hope that helps. Okay. Okay, Obachukwu.
If you click on products sold measures, in your card, how do you change it from a graph to decimal, like as in numbers? Because mine is still on a bar chart. My
On a
card.
bar. All right. You can just come and click on the card. If you're clicking on that bar chart, just come and click on the card.
Okay. Oh, it has changed. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So how do I change to decimal, please? Sorry.
If you come to the call out value and you click on the call out value, you see where you can edit it. You can change the font size, depending on how you want it to be. You can change the color. I'm going to actually change this back to 0 because I don't need it. I just want to show you guys, right? And then this is what you get. Now, when you have the product, so you see that automatically it shows me the product sold, right? So I could decide to leave it here, maybe to read 2,917 products sold, right? Or if I want to be more of a title, I can come here and click on title and then write product sold, right? So for the title, you are the one that writes, puts whatever title you want. But for the category label, it automatically picks whatever you have here, or you can actually come to this field and rename it for this visual. And then that's what's going to be in the category label. However, I want to turn off my part category label. So what I just did is I turned it off. And then I have this. Now for my title, the title is under the general. So you have visual and then you have general. And so for my title, I'm going to change it to a white text. So my brick red text, I'm going to centralize it. And yep, that's how I want it to look like. Okay, I also want to make the background color to be gray. I'm sorry. So I want it to be gray. I'll go to the effects and change it to gray, for everything to be gray, right? So when you've done stuff like this, it's always easier to just copy and paste so that, first of all, the size remains the same. Very important, you want it to be aligned. Again, think about the readability, right? Like when you're doing your PowerPoint presentation, you want your font size to be aligned. You want everything to look organized, right? So that it's pleasing to the eyes. It's not just about the data. You want it to be pleasing to the eyes. So most times what I do is I make whatever changes I want to make on one and put all the information I want on one, and then I begin to edit it based on that. It's also important that the spacing in between your values, at the same. You don't want to be close. Well, let's keep going. Okay, so for this one, I dragged my revenue because I did a copy and paste. All my settings, right? All my formatting remains the same, which is good. Now you see that because my value is like 7 billion, there are some numbers that I'm not saying. I don't want people to be wondering what the other numbers are. So if I go to my format, right, the call out value, where you have display units, I can change that so I want it in thousands so that it will give me thousands is still too small. So we can have it in millions, right? So to put comma, just go to the particular field, right? Particular measure, sorry, and click up here. You can see my screen. Okay, so that's my product sold. I want to add my target. Okay, sorry. So I need to rename that, right? So if I come here and I go to title, come again to general, title, I can rename this as revenue. So when we create like a visual, is one thing to do is to always just go to the format your visual and play around. Sometimes with every new update, Power BI adds all sorts of things that may not have been in the previous version. So there are so many things that many times I just come here, just play around, see what has been added, what can you do now with your visual, what are the properties that have been added and stuff like that. It's very interesting that you find a new thing every other time. So my target, I want to check what was my target. I said my target, like here. So my target was 130 billion, 113 billion. So I also want to add the currency, right? If I add the currency, you can also come here, right, for your call out value and make it auto. So if you make it auto, it's just going to put whatever it is that makes more sense in terms of readability, right? Is there any question? Are we following? Am I too fast? Am I talking to myself? Nobody has asked any question in a while. I'm a little bit worried. Or is it, I mean, it's a bit straightforward, so maybe that's why.
I have a question.
Okay.
So I was trying to put the currency under product sold, but it ended up under revenue. It ended up putting currency under product sold. So if I wanted to tweak that, what do I do?
You can come here to the format and change it back to whole number. We changed the currency before, right? When you clicked on this. So you change it back to whole number. Are you good?
So that will be under format. I click on the card itself, that's in the box itself, and I click on format, right? But it doesn't affect, the change doesn't come.
No, go to where your measures, where you have your measure, because it was in the measures that you added your product, your currency, right? So go back to your measures.
Yes.
Click on that particular measure, which is product sold. When you do that, if you look up on your formatting tab, you will see that there is a format that has, it will now be showing currency. You need to change that to whole number.
Oh, I see. Okay, yes, well, thank you.
No problem. So here I want to rename this guy also to target. Okay. Then the achievements. And then we have your percentage achievement, right? Okay, so can rearrange this. One way to check if this is the same, if you come here, I check the properties, you see that for this visual you have 90, 207, here is 90, 206. I can simply make it 7 so that it's exactly the same amount, the same so it's better if you get everything right so that you just copy and paste. See that everything was 90, 16 something before. Because once you copy and paste, it just retains all the dimensions, right? So you don't have to come and start changing this. Anyway. It happens. So, well, essentially you want your visuals to be as neat or clean looking as possible, just for good user experience. Okay. All right, so now I have this, right? The next thing I want to create are my filters. Remember I talked about filters or slicers, right? And then to do that, I'll use this, this visual here called the slicer. So if I click on, oh my God, it's 5 more minutes. So if I click on this, right? I don't know why it was jumps and becomes very big. So if I click on this and I take it all the way here, now, what do I want to filter? I want to be able to filter my product sold, revenue, and all. I want to be able to filter by the date. So let's assume that we have a date. So if we take this here to this field, right, you can see that if I click on this, it will give me a start date, and I can select a start date and an end date, right? And it automatically just takes it to like the start date where my Power BI, where it's seeing my data set is and the last date, and then I can filter anything in between. However, it also has this slider where you can slide from the end date to the start date, right? But I don't really want that slide. In fact, so I can turn off the slider here. Now, for your dates, right, there are different styles. So what we have here is the between style, which is from between start date and end date. Let me bring it out here so that I can blow it up and then we can see how it works. And then I could also have the where it shows me all the dates. This is very not ideal, except maybe you are able to get it maybe in date month format or something. And then the tile for you to be able to click on it. Sometimes this, so let me show you where this can be also useful. So if I have this and I change my date back to date hierarchy, right? I'm able to do this. Okay. Slides and setting. So one moment. So there's a way, well, let's not go into it. There's a way you can use these styles and then you can just have only your years, right? So let's say you have a range. I think it's coming up this way right now because I have only 1 month in 1 year, right? Only January. If I had, say, 2018, 2019, 2020 to date data, right? These styles here, we just have the different years. If I go to my date hierarchy, and then I can simply select each year. So if I just want to see my sales performance just on a yearly form or yearly, I just want to see it yearly, then I'll just have to see different years. But this particular data set has just January 2022 data, so it's not going to make sense. Another format can also be using the before after. So before or after, it grays out this. So I'm just going to say anytime before the end date. After, we do the opposite. Drop down, like we've seen, you drop down here. Relative dates is also one that is a bit common, where you can say, okay, so I want to check for the last one, and then there are different relative dates. So last 1 day or last 10 days. But what this does is that it cumulates the data, right? So you only see for the last 1 week, last 10 weeks, and all of that, right? And then if you come back here and you change it to date hierarchy, right? So if you change the date hierarchy, what happens is that it gives it in the year, quarter, month, day. So if I click on this, I click on the first quarter, I click on January, then I see the different days in January, right? So with this as well, I can just say, I just want the whole of first quarter. I want the whole of second quarter. I mean, of course, we don't have second quarter, we have only January. We want the whole of 2022. So you can have different years. And like I was talking about the tiles where you can just click on year and year, you can also do that with the date hierarchy. And if you come to the date hierarchy, you can select the style to be a drop down, right? So that's what we're going to do today, drop down. And I'm going to change it to dates, so be the title. I will remove my slicer header just so that it's neat. And then I can come here and do some more manipulation. So I've changed it to date. I want my background color to be red. I want my text to be white. I want it to be bold, just your typical formatting like you would do on like font and text. Now, some people don't like reports that are like very harsh. Just see, I'm going to add the border. So if you see here, for these ones, I didn't need to add border, right? Because I was coloring the background. But if I don't want to color the background, but I still want to add a border, I can come and do that with the effects. Visual border, I turn it on. So if I turn it on, you see now that I've added border to it. And then here where you see the rounded corners, you can add some, you can make it a bit rounded, right? If you make it a bit rounded, it's no longer, it doesn't have those sharp corners. It just makes it look a little bit more, maybe playful, or I don't know what to call it. So now, since I've done this, I can simply copy and paste it, like I said earlier, right? And then I also want to be able to filter all of these by the territory. So I'll come and instead of date, I'll put the territory. I can come and change the name here to territory, right? And then if I click on this, I'll see the different territories. So if I click on Eastern, you see it filters the whole page. I don't know if you can see my screen. If you click on the Northeast Bombali, you see it changes everything. In my values, I want my values to be maybe 10 because I don't know why it's so big. So if I click on South, you see how much what's going on. So this is how you create like an interaction between the different dashboards. You can also come here for the selection. You want to add select all so that you don't have, you can just come here and select all, right? Okay. So copy and paste again. I'm trying to be a bit fast because we are actually over time. Let's see what we can do. We may not finish the whole, but just do 2 more visuals after this and then we can go, I guess. I will share the PBX file and then we can play around with it. So I'm going to share the file. And so when you open the file, the Power BI file that I will share, you would see, if you click on any of the, when you click on any of the visuals, right, you will see what is going on, both on the visualization pane here and on the data side. So here I also want to add a product category. So if I click on product category, I change the name. Product category, right? And so I can also come here and I'll see the different product categories. So book stoves, how many were sold, what was the revenue? Large lanterns, how many were sold, how was the revenue, and so on and so forth, right? Okay, so the next thing I created was I created a revenue trend by the different dates. So we'll just create that. Now, if you come to and see what I used here is a line chart, right? So if I click on the line chart, I can bring it over here and say to this point, right? If you notice, I'm trying to stick with it, like just to make it more, what's the word now? To make it look neater, you just try to stick with, probably it gives you that, helps you with the lines or with the measurements, right? Just to make it look better. Okay, so here I bring the line chart, and in the line chart, I'm trying to create, let me show you what we're trying to do now. So this is what we're trying to do now, right? This one. So in the line chart, we can bring in our dates, right? So if we bring in our date as our x-axis, remember this is the x-axis, and then we want to check the revenue. So bring in the revenue in our y-axis. So here, we have this, and we want to do this. Yeah. So here, I've brought in our, so ideally, not like ideally, if you have a data set that has maybe different years, it would already put it at the highest level of your data set. So if you have 2022, 2023 data, that's the default one. And then if you want to drill down, this value, this is drill up, drill down, right? So the lowest levels, this is what you use. Now they're grayed out for me because there's no level to drill down. I didn't click on anything to get the blue zigzag lines. I took my revenue to the y-axis and took my date to the x-axis. And then based on the data we have, this is the value, right? So for January 2nd, this was the revenue, and so on and forth. So forth. That is what has created that line, right? Now, if we want to change the color, go to lines. You have colors, and I can change it to my color, right? I can also add the border, just like we said before. So I want to add a visual border. Then for my title, I want to rename it January 2022 revenue. I just want to name it that, right? So it's always is better to take off like those excesses that make your data set or your visual look very too many numbers, right? For the general, I want to make my title this, my background, yeah. And then let's just give this 13. Yeah. So I have this, right? So I'm going to do one more visual, and then I'll just share the PPX file with us so that then we can see what else. So what I came here to do now, I used the funnel visual, right? If you click on the funnel visual, you have this, and then what I'm trying to do now, I'm trying to get the top 5 territories in terms of their revenue. So I'm going to come here and put the revenue in value, right? And then the territory name in the category. And then it shows me all the different territories. So if I go to the filters tab, we've done the data tab, we've worked on the visualizations tab. Now, if I go to the filters tab and I go to the territory name, I will see a filter type. Now, there's the basic filtering. If I click on basic filtering, there are other types of filters, advanced filtering, and there's the top N. I want to use the top N, and I want just the top 5, right? And the top 5, is it going to be top 5 based on what? Is it based on product sold? Is it based on achievement? Is it based on revenue, right? We could actually see maybe percentage achievement, let's see. And then apply filter. So if we do it based on percentage achievement, right? You see that you have this. So 2, 3, 4, 1. So apply filter is under, is here. When you're stuck, you can just look at the screen and then you can try to see like where, okay, I know you might be working on your own screen, right? And so you might not be viewing my screen all the time. But apply filter is here under the filters where you have under territory name. So the same thing, you can come here, change the colors. I want to, so I don't want to use this any color here. I want to use like a custom conditional formatting. So I want my lowest value to be the light red, and then the highest value to be my brick red. And okay, and so it just does that, right? And then I can do the other formatting, right? Visual border, title, I say top 5 territories. And then okay. So The other two are also very straightforward. Does anybody have any questions for this one? And I know our time is already fast spent. These are the remaining two visuals I was going to show us. It's basically for this one, we're using the stacked column charts to give us the number of sales by territories and broken down by the product categories. So if you click on the different colors, you see the different categories, right? And then a table that just shows you each territory, their targets, and their achievements. So you see that with Power BI, we've been able to take two different tables. One table had the sales by not aggregated, right? And another table had an aggregated target for different territories. And we're able to use both of them by modeling them together or by creating like a join in the model view and creating a view that shows us comparison between the sales and the target for different territories, if we had that target also broken down, say, by product category, we would also be able to check each product category, the achievement level, right? So in our project, we might not need to come and create these models, right? If we already use our SQL to create our individual data sets that we want to visualize, it's okay. That's using what is called like a data mart model, right? And that's also fine. Okay, I'm saying some. Okay, to redo. Apply filter is grayed out. Apply filter will only be grayed out if you've not put by value. So if you're showing items top 5 and you want to show it by what? Is it by achievement? Is it by revenue? Is it by product sold? How do you want to put that, right? Redo the conditional formatting. We need to stop now. To do the conditional formatting, if you come here and you click on your colors, where you have this F of X sign, if you click on it, then you'll be able to put your conditional formatting here. Minimum value, just click this guy, maximum value, that guy, and then click on OK, and then you'll be fine. Your legends are not showing for the funnel. You ensure that your data label is on, and then you can decide the position and however you want to do it, right? However you want to do it. Okay, so I'm going to stop now. Like I said, I will send this file to us. Let me save this. If I'm going to save it now, I will come save as. Let's call this sales performance. Right. So I can just save this. I don't really get your question. You say, how do you apply by value so that apply filter appears?
You said that I did not complete it in a way that, so if I did the top 5, the filter type top 5, top N, then under it is something, a column that says by value. But if I feel, yes. So the thing is that my own is not giving, by value.
Your own is not what? Tell me.
My own is not, it's just saying add data values. Should I drag revenue and put in that place? Or is that how it is?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so how do I allow the legends to show?
if you come
Those
here,
things there.
yeah, so you have data labels. Make sure it's on, and then it can tell you the positioning if you want it outside or inside or whatever. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
I've sent the Power BI file. So if you open it, you can also play around to see what was done with what. The one I sent is pretty much the same what we did in class, just slightly different because initially I had done it by revenue and now we did it by achievement in terms of the top end, but ultimately same thing. Yeah. Shekinah, over to you. I think I have a hard stop right now. But if you have any questions, like when you're going through it, you can always like send your questions through
Jumaka.
okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, and then also during your project, if you're trying to do your presentation on your project and you have any issues, I don't know how that would work, but I mean, by tomorrow's class, right? If you have any issues with your presentation or your visualization, just bring it to class and then we can tackle it together as much as possible. Sorry for taking so long and so much time. I hope everyone was able.
Quick one, just in 3 minutes. I put a file called dump 2023-1010. It's a zipped file, so everyone can just open it. I just want to show how to load the database for the project. Since people were struggling.
Where did you put the file, please?
It's in the chat. So I know we're recording. I'll just show like the steps quickly, and anyone that doesn't get it, you can just watch the video and do it. So I'm sharing screen quickly. So yeah. So what you need to do quickly, right? That file I sent you will be saved like in a particular location when you download it, right? So you just need to create a database, a schema. So if you come to the top, you can see create new schema. You can also right click and go to create schema, whichever. And you have to name the schema project, all lowercase, right? So project, all lowercase, apply. And this is the same code we use to create database or create schema. So once you do that, you can see there's a new schema here, project. You can see it. But in that schema, there are no tables, right? It's just the same empty database when we create one. So I can close this. Now, if you go to administration, so the schemas is administration. For some of you, it's at the bottom, right? Schemas and administration. Either way, go to administration, go to data import or restore, right? So this allows you to load the file I already sent. So once you decompress that file, you can go to the location where it is. There are 3 dots here that allow you to explore your folders. So if I just select that, you see I've selected it, and I click open. So you see the schema just shows project. So I named it project. So you have to create the same schema as I showed you with project with the same name, all lowercase. And you just go to start import. And it's going to import the 10 tables for you. At this point, you can go back to schemas, you can refresh, and you're going to see all the tables. So these are the 10 tables, right? So your factory sellers, and all the dimension tables. So if you come here and do our use project, right? So you can use that database, you can select stuff from, I think the big one is factory sellers, sales, right? Let's do one of the DIM tables as well. Select stuff from DIM employee, let's say. Right? So below this too, let me stretch this. So you can see this is your fact table. Remember that table in Excel with about 50-something thousand rows. So this is all it, your ship date, your customer tracking, freight, whatever. The unit price, amount, sales amount, and everything you need. So with this, you can set up that database and do your queries.
Oh, okay. This is just as an addendum to using the data base, right?
I'm just sending the database so people can load it directly, since some people said they had issues with loading it.
Okay.
So
okay.
this just creates
right,
the database quickly. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I thought it was a means to submit the project. By the way, how are we submitting the project?
So just have a file, a SQL file with all your, so you know how when you write all your code, you can just save it.
Yeah.
So just save that SQL file. So you would have the SQL file. Mm-hmm. Any other supporting analysis you did, like some people may want to have a nice Excel file if you want, like if not the SQL file and your Power BI dashboard or your Power BI visuals and your PowerPoint deck.
So are we sending the Power BI as a screenshot or as a BXI file?
BX file.
I thought regarding SQL, probably the queries we write and what we used to, whatever function we used and what we want to call out. I thought all we needed is to have a compilation of screenshots.
No, I don't want screenshots of your queries. I won't be able to check if they're correct. Like if they run, I have to be able to run the queries.
Okay, so more like
screenshots of queries they're no good. So just like when you have all your queries in one file or in two files, depending on how you want to, like you can have a long list of queries, like, and then just comment it nicely and then just like have it packaged. At least since all of us might be using this project or whatever database you're using, same data, right? So I'll be able to run it and get the same results. And like Mehitabel said, for some people, so for some teams, they may want to run the code and get the data out and then just use that data in Power BI as opposed to trying to connect, build the data model in Power BI. If anyone wants to try that as well, like that's also fine, but it's open. Sounds good.